shocking news of our very own fearless player Bob Stoops, Big Game Bob, turning in his visor, at least for right now, and becoming an advisor to the football program, but not as football coach. It's only beneficial that our next preview is the man who taught him how to win here in the Big 8 and Big 12. And back in those days, Bob even said it wasn't easy to win in Manhattan. It wasn't easy to get the fans out there. But you know what? He did. And another legendary coach, our very own Barry Switzer, former Sooner coach, even said he is, not might be, is the coach of the decade. We will preview the Kansas State Wildcats and that man we're talking about, Bill Snyder, next. Boomer Sooner 1982. Don't go away! Welcome back to the show, everybody. My name's Harry James. Purple and gray, purple and silver, doesn't matter what you call it. They are blue, as in blue collar, are the Kansas State Wildcats. Again, last year, very quietly winning 9 games, finishing 9-4, 6-3 in league play. They finished 4th in the conference. Right there behind West Virginia. It was Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and then came big, bad Kansas State, who in their bowl win actually beat Texas A&M in Reliant Stadium in the Texas Bowl, beat them 33-28. An A&M team led by our old buddy Trevor Knight that finished 8-5 last year, 4-4 in their part of the SEC. Their head coach at Kansas State is Bill Snyder. He is not the long-termist coach, the longest term coach now that Bob's gone. That is on Mike Gundy and on TCU's coach Gary Patterson, because he did take 4 years off. But Bill Snyder's still a good coach, because from his first stint, when Barry Switzer, like we talked about, said he was the best coach of the decade, he did that. And from 89 to 2005, he took them to drastic heights. Retired in his own right, but Snyder did return to coaching. I think Stoops can too, by the way. Stoops can return also. Snyder, though, returned in 2009 and is still presently at Kansas State. Helping him get to 10 wins, almost 10 wins again this year, would be number 16, Jesse Ertz. That's E-R-T-Z. Jesse passed for 1,755 yards in the air last year for the Wildcats, to go with 9 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. The leading rushers for Kansas State would be returning, that is, would be their quarterback, Jesse Ertz, and number 32, Justin Silman. We'll start with Ertz. Number 16, Jesse Ertz, the quarterback, had, when it all said and done, had 183 carries, to go with 1,012 yards on the ground, 12 touchdowns for the youngster. Justin Silman also ran the ball well. You know that he will for Kansas State all the time. They always have a running back or two. Number 32, Justin Silman, did just that with 86 carries last year to go with 464 yards and 3 touchdowns last year for the Wildcats. Now the receiving, this is where you really got to take hype. This is the guy you really want to watch out for returning. Number 9, Brian Pringle, the Pringle stick. He's pretty good, and he could bring a lick. As can number 4, Dominique Heath, play well. We'll start with the big guy, the junior college transfer last year, and I'm pretty sure he was the Big 12 newcomer of the year last year. Brian Pringle, 39 receptions last year, 631 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns for the young kid. Well, number 4, Dominique Heath did his part also in the offense, gaining 45 receptions for 438 yards in the air to go with 3 touchdowns last year for the Wildcats of Kansas State. And then Coach Snyder always, he and his son always have a pretty stable defense. And they did last year. One of the guy actually had over 100 tackles. The 2 guys that return that have been making noise in the Big 12, number 9, Elijah Lee, and number 2, DJ Reed. We'll start with that man that has over 100 total tackles just last year in Big 12 play in the season. That would be number 9, Elijah Lee, who had 10 tackles last year, 1 forced fumble, 0 fumbles recovered, and 2 picks last year from the linebacker position at Kansas State. Number 2, DJ Reed from the defensive back slot, 75 total tackles last year. He had 2 forced fumbles, didn't recover any, but did have 3 interceptions last year for the Wildcats of Kansas State. Their head coach, Bill Snyder. The Sniders is a 1962 grad from William and Jewell. His coaching history, 1989 to 2005, of course, we already said this, at Kansas State. 2009 to present, he's at Kansas State. That's the only jobs he's ever had as head coach were at Kansas State in the combined years coaching. He has a 202 win to 105 win-loss scenario to go with 102. That's 102 wins, 105 losses, and 1 tie in there. That is a 65% winning clip for the Manhattan Miracle Man, Bill Snyder. Their post record under the Sniders is 8-10, a 44% winning percentage. Divisional titles under Sniders, 2000. Remember the one in 2000, Senior fans, don't you? When we had to play Kansas State a second time in their Arrowhead. We also had to play them in Arrowhead a second time in 2003. Those are the only 2 divisional titles for Kansas State. And their 2 conference titles since 2000. The 2003 team that beat OU, and also another team that beat OU. And by the way, Oklahoma ended up tying for the conference divisional play in that conference title in that one also in 2012. Alright guys, well Kansas State's supposed to be pretty good again this year. I don't see why not. 9-4 and 6-3 in league play for a team, but last year was supposed to have a little bit of a drop-off. Not a big drop-off, but a little bit of a drop-off. And they didn't. They played probably about what you'd expect them to do. They beat the teams that you would expect them to beat. The 3 losses, in league play losses, of course, the teams you would expect them to come to. with that being said, it's been fun. It's been great. Next week, we'll review a little bit more of a spread offense as our old buddy Lincoln Riley, the new coach at Oklahoma, goes up against his old school and one of the quarterbacks he used to be running with, Cliff Kingsbury, and Texas Tech. All right, guys. See y'all next weekend. Until then, stay cool, stay awesome, and as always, Boomer Sooner, everybody. Take care. I am out of here.